Welcome back to the Fire League Frontier, everybody. So coming back after the break, the party has just about survived a vicious ambush and attack from a group of people from a tribe that's semi-local to here called the Bow. The Bow seem to be lizard folk like humanoids, but they seem to differ from lizard folk in a few key ways. They seem to have phases in their life cycle. Their children are very different to their adult forms, for example. And there's presumably much more that you are yet to find out about them. But for now, you have some corpses to loot. So before we get to that, though, I believe Cowardice, the one surviving bow child that is that has remained here, you're kind of like pulling it off you and like tying it up a bit, I guess.
I'm going to push it to the floor face first and tie its arms behind its back. So one arm to one leg and the other arm to another leg. And then slip it on like a backpack facing away from me.
Okay.
I've also bound its jaws shut with rope as well.
You are significantly stronger than it is. It can't resist you. So you do that. I think Running River would watch this proceeding while licking his wounds and write on his scrap of leather, showing it to Garrick again, saying, "What? I hate to waste charcoal on writing this more than once, but what is he doing?"
I'll just shake my head and kind of groan. I still have 2 arrows sticking out my chest.
Noticing this, I'll look over to Running River and say, "Backpack."
Running River does an exaggerated nod. He puts the piece of leather back in his bag, takes out another piece of leather, and writes on it, showing this to Garrick, saying, "I'm going to keep that one. I can just flash it."
I'll kind of nod.
Better be prepared.
Yeah.
Perhaps I shall have it preserved and lacquered.
just adding Bowchild backpack to my items.
Yeah, you can add Bowchild backpack to your inventory. So while these conversations are happening, I believe Rewy is looting the corpse.
I'm just seeing if he's got any documentation, wallet, where it came from. Honest, not just trying to rob all gold coins.
Yeah. So searching through his bags, you do find some what appears to perhaps be coinage. They're like kind of, they're not uniform in any way, but you do find like small flat nuggets of steel. You'll all be aware that steel is very rare on this planet. None is, it seems that they don't mine it. Either they don't know how, or they don't know that you can, or but like whatever steel they have is leftovers from other times and other places, or comes from meteorites. Iron doesn't last long on the surface of planets, though, as it rusts. So what iron they are able to get hold of and keep is very, very valuable. These coins might be these coins are, I might say, worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, so I'll look at them, kind of thing, keep them, but he has no like paper or anything like that on him.
No, nothing written on him. He does have his bow, though. His bow seems to be undamaged.
Yeah, I'll give it a pull, kind of thing. See if I can like pull it.
What?
Use it.
Strength.
Pardon?
What is your strength?
9.
So you like draw the bow back, but like you draw it like 6-7 inches before it's just too much for you. This bow deals 2d6 damage. However, in order to draw it, you're going to need 18 strength.
Double my strength. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, in order to actually draw the bow, you're going to need 18 strength, and it will still attack and damage using dexterity. But you can, like, it's got 18 strength as like a bent, like, you know, a gateway in order to actually be able to use it.
That's fair. I guess I'll keep hold of it. As it's something worth selling, but obviously it's not really going to be the most useful if I can't use it.
Yeah. The bow itself, it's wood backed with horn by the look of it. You don't recognize what kind of horn it is, or what kind of wood it is for that matter, but it's a composite sort of bow.
Yeah, I guess I'll turn around to Garrick as well, thinking about it, and go, this can be the next tribal gift.
It could be, yes. If has he got any arrows on him?
Yeah, he's got a quiver of arrows. There's like, 10 arrows or so.
And you've got 2.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, as you say that, Running River writes a note, holds it up. It says, maybe somebody should see to that. I'd do it myself, but I think you would all be better at that sort of fine manipulation.
I'll nod.
I'll cast Cure Wounds on it.
I can hold him down, though.
I think it's pretty best if you did. I'll cast Cure Wounds. See if we can.
Yeah.
If we can heal you a bit.
Running River, as you do, he writes on a note. It says, "Should we remove the arrows first?"
Yep.
It's gonna have to be quick.
I'll snap the arrowheads, kind of thing, and pull them through.
Yeah, the arrowheads are made of napped stone by the look of it.
I'm assuming the arrows went through.
Yes, they did. They are poking out his back.
Yeah.
Push.
Okay. I'll have my hands readied, and as soon as you pull them out, I'll cast Cure Wounds.
Well, it's a snap and then pull out. Like, you don't pull the arrowhead out.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No.
Yep. So whoever's doing the operation to snap the arrowheads off and pull the arrows out, can I get a medicine check?
Medicine check.
You'll have advantage because Running River is holding him steady.
So medicine in this world is science, isn't it?
Medical science, yes.
So I've got +3 in science, and that'll be proficiency, won't it? So yeah, I am. I've got a skill, so it'll be +4 actually. Haha. That is a strong 21.
21, nice. So yeah, with him being stabilized and held down, you're able to pull the 2 arrows out with great speed, and moments later, Calidus is able to heal the wounds closed. It's fortunate that he was able to, because as soon as the arrows are removed, like, blood literally gushes out of him. It's like a torrent leaving him. I think your blood pressure would drop quite quickly as this happened. For a moment, you'd faint. Garrett would faint for a moment, but would be brought back to consciousness moments later as the blood tops him back, as the healing magic tops him back up.
3 hit points.
Thank you.
Yep, it's enough to close the wounds at least.
Well, at least that's dealt with, and I'm glad we're going to a place that has healers.
Me too, after seeing that.
I'm sorry I didn't spot them, Garrick.
I didn't either, so it's not all on you.
It is my job as, like, the chief scout.
Yes, I probably could have chosen a different method than running up that close.
Yes. I as soon as I noticed the danger, I did try to kind of scare whatever it was out. That's why I was firing arrows, but I didn't see any movement in the trees.
Well, we know at least a method that they use to ambush people. We can be wary of it next time.
Thank you for your kindness, Garrick.
Running River writes a note that says, as far as I am aware, they are expert hunters and ambushers. We would not be the first to have fallen prey to an attack like this, and I have no doubt we will not be the last.
I'll nod. My apologies either way.
He says, I'm just glad you were able to spot that something was wrong. Otherwise, they would have attacked us completely out of the blue and we would not have been prepared.
I'll like nod and kind of smile to myself, like, yeah, I did notice them early.
But perhaps the one that ran off will think twice before trying it again on us.
Fingers crossed he's learnt a lesson. And then I guess I'll go, like, shall we eat?
It's as good a time as any.
The Running River says, the stand of rocks is only a couple of minutes away. We could continue our journey there.
Yes. I'm just thinking we've got a pre-made fire. As I point to the burning tree.
Yeah. Running River looks at it and then looks at the giant plume of smoke as the wet branches that are being burned is making his thing. He says, right, yes, I was thinking that too.
Let's move on.
I'll grab a couple of the dead bows, the small ones. Bring them with us.
Sure. Autopsy time.
Yep.
So yeah, you grab a couple of them. They're very, very light. Like you can pick them up. You can pick them up in one hand. They're not more than like 500 grams each. These creatures. They're very, very light. But yeah, you're able to pick up a couple, and it's only a couple of minutes up the hill. I think, Garrett, you'd be having trouble like drawing full breath. Like you wouldn't be able to like fill your lungs to capacity, but like as long as you're only walking, like you'll be fine until you can get some proper medical attention.
I'll try and find like a big stick and use that.
Yeah, sure. Like,
I'll
you
pass you my staff. Well, that's no problem.
Preferably one that doesn't explode.
Just don't hit it hard. I didn't know it exploded. I'll say that happily to you as well.
Yeah, but I'll decline the offer for now, Rory. I think that's a little bit dangerous to have around me right now.
I'll nod. And then I'll tell Calidus, like, did you see the bang?
I'll smile really happily, like, yeah. It was ace. I think I enjoyed it just as much as Rory.
Okay, so you make your way up to this this stand of boulders. Having your lunch, I guess you'd take a short rest here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can roll hit dice if you wish and get anything back that you would get on a short rest.
Now, I've played this game for a long time, but I don't take short rests often, so I don't know what my hit die are.
You're a rogue, right?
Yeah.
D8s.
D8, okay. I'll roll one of them.
What is it for Ranger?
I want to say D8 as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
very martial though. Like they get extra attack and stuff, so it might be D10. You probably want to roll
a D10 on Ranger. Yeah.
So,
Oh, really?
I'm back to full health.
Awesome.
I'm sitting there on a D6.
Coming up to full health. That'll do.
You get to add your constitution, I believe.
You do, yeah.
Oh, definitely full health then.
Okay, everyone.
I am on.
Okay, I'll take it that everybody has sorted their maths. So as you're spending an hour or so in this, standard stones, looking around, it seems that there are three stones that are standing vertically, and they're arranged on three corners of a square. There is another stone on the other corner, but that's fallen over. And it seems that there are other large blocks around here that have also fallen, and many have broken. And the grass inside the four stones is a bit shorter than the grass outside and a little bit less healthy looking, perhaps. The soil is just a lot more gravelly here.
So I guess since we've got a bit of time, I'll use some of my Furbolg magic and detect magic.
Sure. Casting detect magic, you are able to confirm that the site is completely magically inert.
Okay. That is weird. So I guess next other thing I would do, because I'm not a huge kind of magic nut. I've got no magical theory or anything, but I try to check the stones, see if there's any runes on them.
Sure. Give me, I think, a history check or an investigation check. Either one is fine here, I think.
I'll go for investigation, as that is my better skill. That is a 13.
13. So, you have a look at these, at the surface of these rocks, and you note that there's some lichen and mosses growing on them, and you catch out the corner of your eye just when the light hits the rock just right. If you've been here any other time of day, you probably wouldn't have noticed this. But when the light hits one of these rocks just right, you note that there's an almost perfectly straight line of moss growing on one of them, maybe 6 inches long, and it catches your eye. Moving closer, you'd be able to note that there is actually a slight depression in the rock that the moss has kind of latched onto. That's why the moss is growing in a straight line there. But that's a structure in the rock, that little dip. And now that you know they're there, you're able to spot lots of them on the surface of this rock. There are horizontal lines about 6 inches long, and there's maybe 10 lines spaced perhaps 4 inches apart. And on these, coming off these lines, you can see there are other smaller lines. This is clearly some sort of script. It's a writing system, though it is not remotely related by the look of it to the glyphs used by Imperial Standard. The writing system, that even if people don't speak Imperial Standard, the culture of the Galactic Empire has been so old and so pervasive that generally any language you come across in the galaxy, if not directly derived from Imperial Standard, at least uses an alphabet that's derived from the Imperial Standard alphabet. This is, and that is unusual.
So I guess after noticing these things, I'd go to Garrett because he's the more magically inclined, and I'm thinking this is a magic circle as a non kind of history buff as such. So I'm pointing these markings out to Garrett and go, "Oh, what do you think?"
I honestly don't know. If it's some sort of writing, then perhaps running rivers come across it.
Okay, I'll take the question to Running River and point them out.
Running comes over and has a look at it and says, I've not noticed anything like this before. No, I don't recognize it, though it is, you're right, it is clearly writing. Just not a writing I've ever seen. The first the first tribe, they wrote information down, but they use the same writing system that we do today.
So this then must be older than the first tribe.
I wouldn't jump to conclusions. It could be younger. These ruins may not be of the first tribe. They could be simply of something that nobody knows about yet. All we know is that this writing is not familiar to any of us.
I'll nod. I'll kind of mark out the writing kind of thing, like copy it as best I can.
Sure.
And then one of the uprights kind of thing. I'll try and dig at its base.
Sure.
Because I know like people bury things in religious places.
Sure. How long are you planning on spending on this?
Not long. Like this is kind of part of the rest as such, so it's just like casually digging. I'm not like backbreakingly digging as such.
Sure. Give me an athletics check then. We'll make it with disadvantage because you're still resting. So you're just kind of idly digging. You're not really putting your back into it.
Yeah. So that's a 6.
6. So you're able to dig down a little bit, but the ground's quite hard, and there's quite a bit of gravel in it, and you don't have a shovel. It's basically just quite a bit of faff. Though maybe it might be worth coming back here at some point with proper digging equipment and the manpower to do an excavation. Maybe there's some good archaeology to be done here.
Yeah, this is something that the crew of the Sojourner would have been really interested in. So when we see the captain again, we'll let him know.
Yeah, this sort of thing is investigating. This is definitely within the remit of the Sojourner's mission.
Yeah.
This is a writing system that, as far as you're aware, nobody's ever seen before. It could be, it could be big news.
So I'll kind of fall back into kind of that discipline of asking people to take notes, kind of marking out the stones and things. Kind of forgetting the situation we're in a bit and going back to kind of the Sarujana kind of processes.
Running River seems to be getting quite into it. It seems that his mindset fits this kind of investigative stuff quite well. He hands Garrick a comprehend languages scroll.
Yeah, I'll cast it.
Yeah. Casting comprehend languages and looking at this language, you get nothing.
Oh. Yeah, I'm getting nothing from the writing.
Running River just says to you, because you can now fully understand his language. He says, "What are you getting?"
Absolutely nothing.
I thought there was something wrong with my casting of the spell, but if you're getting nothing as well, then that means that comprehend languages doesn't work on this language.
Unless it's
this language
not
is
a language.
older than magic.
It could also be some sort of secret message in a language. It wouldn't decode that.
I suppose not.
I'll turn
or if
around
it was
to you.
used in magic, it wouldn't decode that either, I don't think.
Garrick, you're saying a spell doesn't work on it. Could it be... don't get me wrong, thieves can't.
If it was a similar sort of coded language, it would still, I think, get words. I'm not sure.
Words in an order that makes sense.
Yes. It's strange that we're getting nothing from it. But unless it's not meant to be a message in words.
It could also just be decoration, but there's certain order to it that isn't consistent with that interpretation.
Unless it was part of the construction or greater structure that this could have been.
Could it
perhaps.
be that these are part of words that need to be viewed in a certain angle to make a complete word?
I could try moving about, see if I can find that angle.
Yeah, you do so, but like no matter where you move or how you tilt your head or what angle you look at this presumably text at, you get nothing. It's as far as the spell's concerned, it's just a blank piece of rock.
That's weird.
Does it look like it's like been weathered or anything? Does it look like there probably could have been more there?
It looks extremely weathered. These these glyphs, for want of a better word, they were presumably quite cleanly etched in the rock once, but now like you can if you look at them in the right way, you can barely detect where the lines are. It could be that relevant details have been weathered away, but you'd still expect the comprehend language to recognize that there was something there in that case, unless it was extremely weathered. But like you can pick out that that's writing, and if you can recognize that it's writing, then the spell should recognize that it's writing, even if it couldn't translate it. Recognize it as writing.
Maybe it's not turned on. Can we put the mana crystals on it or near it from the staff? Everything's worth a try at this point.
There could be, yeah. You try that. There could be some sort of resonant property, but it seems that in this case there is not. It seems that there are glyphs carved in a rock.
Are any of the stones small enough to be able to be moved? Like, what I'm thinking here is, if one of the stones has fallen, and there's writing on the fallen side that's on the ground, that would not have been weathered.
Yeah. Are you going to try and like turn over some stones?
Yeah, if they are of a size that is easy to do. I'm not going to kind of exert myself as it.
Yeah. Like you find a couple of stones that fit the bill, but they just don't happen to have any writing on the underside. All that you reveal are some disgruntled beetles and woodlice whose home you have wrecked.
Perhaps the people in a nearby town might have seen more of this sort of things. It's something we could ask them when we get there.
I'm going to take my little bow child backpack off and put his face towards the stones to see if there's any sort of reaction at all.
He's wriggling and trying to escape his bonds.
Okay, I'm going to give him a pat on the head. And
the writing.
Give him a little pat on the head and put him back on. Even Bo doesn't know what's going on. So
the bow child is incapable of speech. Never mind of reading and writing.
Worth a try. Everyone gets a fair chance in this party.
Yeah. The only other thing I'm thinking is if a stone's natural, kind of thing, but I'm assuming it is.
What do you mean by that?
So, like, it's naturally occurring in this area is natural. So if it's like suddenly there's a load of granite in a quarry of limestone.
Yeah. Give me a perception check. See what other rocks you've seen as you cast your mind back.
So perception. That's a 19.
19. Yeah, you've seen some like normal looking rocks and boulders, and they are made out of the same stone as this. So, whatever stone this was made of, it was reasonably locally sourced. Like it wasn't like carted from miles and miles away.
That's fair. I'll like kind of mark the position on a map as such. Kind of look at the sun in the sky and go, I guess we must get on. Like,
I agree. It's pretty best to keep
reconfiguring my
moving.
step kind of thing. Haha, we're back on the mission.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done some actual science, some actual anthropology, but with a new mystery of the writing that couldn't be translated. You continue on your journey eastwards, heading slowly but steadily towards Odaka. So Odaka's no more than an hour away at this point. Running River would say as you're approaching, he'd say we're running quite we're quite ahead of schedule. We could go into Odaka for a little bit before reporting back if you'd like.
Sure, if you think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but we really should. I mean, we really should head back at some point to make sure that to warn the others that there are bow hunters in the area. I don't think bow hunters will bother a group that large, but it's worth. I think it's worth warning them about.
Yes, no problem. Then I'll like look at Garrick and go, if that's all right.
Yes, I don't see why we can't pop in.
He nods, and then I guess the four of you head towards Odaka. As it happens, you pass quite close to the shore of the lake that you saw from far away this morning. As you do, like you get this kind of like burnt plastic smell as you get towards the lake, and the wind blows in your direction. Looking out across the lake, it seems to be essentially a lake of tar by the look of it. You're not sure what geological process could cause such a large lake of tar, because it is very, very large. And it is kind of like steaming and smoking in the middle. But it seems to be a giant lake of tar. The trading post has been built on the shore of this lake.
That is weird. Trying to think what we could use tar for though.
Lots of things.
Glue, sealant.
Yeah.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic. Roads.
Kind of an abundant supply of tar there as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you interacting with that at all, or is it just a case of cracking on?
We'll make a good note of it. I feel.
Yeah.
This huge lake is tar.
Yeah, it's more of a curiosity than something like I think we could use right now. So like, I'll make note of it on my map again, kind of thing, and just carry on.
Sure. I think also you'd note that there are, like, in patches on the surface of the lake and also quite significantly on the shorelines as well, there are large patches of, like, pink and deep purple, like, patches of microbes by the look of it. Like, patches of slime, essentially. But you'd recognize it as, like, microbial colonies.
Told you there was slime.
They're being based on their color. They seem to be feeding on some sort of chemistry that's happening here with the tar. Further study would be required, but it's something some random scientist can study somewhere. It doesn't seem particularly relevant to the here and now.
No, right. It's just tar. It's dead microbes, technically, if I remember correctly.
Well, these ones seem to be thriving and doing just fine.
Yeah. Weird.
So
my,
yeah,
my detect magic would have run out by now, wouldn't it? So.
yeah. But even if you clutched on to the very end of it or recast it, you'd find that the lake of tar is also magically inert.
Yeah.
But yeah, after moving for another couple of hours, as it's getting on to late afternoon, you would finally reach the border to Odaka. Adaka is built on the shore of the Tar Lake. There's sort of a peninsula that runs out a little into the lake that it's been built on, and it's walled off on the one side that faces the land by a tall palisade. The palisade is made of local wood, presumably brought in from the tree line that now runs along like your north. But there's it seems that there are like the most of the people here are humanoids. You can see that there are a couple of humanoids atop the wall with long spears, long enough that they could like lean down over the wall and stab somebody on the ground, even though the wall is about 15 feet tall. They're armed with pikes, essentially. Long pikes that you couldn't realistically use on foot, but you could use stabbing downwards off the top of the wall specifically. They have quite they've got kind of bronzed skin. These people, they're of a similar sort of ethnicity to some of the humans that were living with the Yoruba. So it seems that these people, like the tribe these people are from, are represented among the Yoruba in the residence they take. But up there, you can also see some monkey-like intabans, a couple of them up on the walls as well. So it seems that there are multiple tribes that inhabit this settlement by the look of it. As the four of you approach the walls, you can see that there is a large gate that they've got here. The gate isn't closed. In fact, it doesn't seem like the gate can easily be closed. By the look of it, it's not hinged or anything, and there's no like portcullis or whatever like that you'd expect to see in like medieval Ember. It seems that there are sections of portcullis that are like just not attached to the floor and they just are lifted up and slotted into place when they need to close the gates. It seems to be quite a relatively technologically primitive setup, but you can see those sections of wall kind of like leaning against the wall on like next to the gate on the far side. One of the humans atop the wall would shout down to you. He'd say, "Hello. What brings you here? I don't recognize your tribe."
I'll kind of look back to Running River, and then say, "Well, we're here to get some medical supplies. A few of my friends are injured, and we're looking to find a healer."
He shouts down and says, "You're not the only one. We've had a few attacks from the bow of late, so we've got more than a few people needing medical attention ourselves."
Yes, we came across a bow hunting party, just out there, and I'll kind of nod in the general direction. A plume of smoke, I guess. Yeah. We dealt with it though.
Yes, the man on the shift before me mentioned a flash from that direction. That was you then.
Yes, our group, yes.
You have powerful magics then, or some sort of, or is it some sort of artifice that I am not familiar with?
I am a magic user, yes. I wouldn't exactly call it powerful. It just set a tree on fire. It was quite dry. It caught quite quickly.
He says, "Well, it seems that you are friends of the Yoruba, so you are welcome here. However, if you seek medical attention, then I'm afraid you must join the queue. However, the rest of our facilities are available to you if you wish them."
Of course. I have one question, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes.
You said you didn't recognize our tribe. Kind of pointing to the three of us. Have you seen anyone else that you don't recognize from that would wear similar clothing to us?
He shakes his head and says, "No, I have not."
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
He nods and says, "You may enter, but make note that you follow the trade law while you're here. We of Dhaka have our own laws here, independent of any individual tribe. As long as you don't obstruct the flow of trade within these walls, and as long as you don't do harm to any but yourselves, you can't go wrong."
I will keep note of that.
He nods slowly and ushers you inside.
I'll look for the doctors immediately to find out where the botfly can be cured.
So heading in, you can see that Odaka is the settlement's quite differently laid out than the Yoruba settlement is. The buildings here largely are made of wood and stone, mostly wood though, and they're square in construction with steepled roofs, rather than the circular yurts favoured by the Yoruba. You can see that the people here are about 80% humanoid, though there are a few different ethnicities here. There are Intaba here, but there's not that many of them. And you can see like occasional like Yoruba lions moving around as well. Notably, in what seems to be a repurposed livestock pen on the eastern side of the town, you can see that there are perhaps six or seven adult bow that have been locked up there. Their hands are bound, and it seems that their claws, both on their hands and feet, have been clipped. Some of them are bandaged and still bleeding. It seems that they have blood vessels in their claws, but their claws have been cut off, presumably to render them harmless so they don't attack people. But they are there. They mostly just sit there despondent, but occasionally you'll see them glowering at passers-by. The town is arranged around the town square. There are the largest buildings are around the town, around the center of town. You can see that there is signage outside various buildings. There's no writing on the signs, since you're aware that most people on Shrike are illiterate, so they just don't have the writing isn't pervasive here. There's only occasional people who can read. So it's like pictures on the signs, generally speaking. You can see there is one of the signs Rowie is looking out for is like a mortar and pestle with some herbs next to it. It also has a bandage across the face of the blind man, which is a lesser known symbol of Ilmater, one of the Imperial Pantheon, who presumably still sees some worship here in some form or another. But Ilmater is a god of not suffering, but sufferers, people who are suffering. One of his MOs is bringing healing, so it's not unexpected to see the sign of Ilmater in a house of healing.
Yeah.
You can also see, notably, that there is a one building has a pair of wooden mugs on its sign. That building seems to be quite popular. But other than that, there are a few other buildings with signage, but they seem to be mostly like tools and things. The big thing that you would note about the town square is that there is a very, very large board made of wood that they've set up, and it seems to have been painted with tar by the look of it, because it's black, and with pieces of chalk. There are a few humanoids there that are writing on it quite consistently, and and it seems that there's quite a crowd gathered around it, and it seems that the residents of Udaka are auctioning off lots of barrels of tar to the people gathered around, and they're using the blackboard to keep track of essentially the auctions they're running here. So whoever is willing to pay the most will get the most and the best tar. It looks likely to be quite an efficient system. You'd be aware that similar systems have been used both on Ember and on and in Foray, Brad. So you might have seen similar systems to this being used in history books. Not so much in the modern day, but it has been used in the past. But yeah, that seems to be the majority of the interest here. There is notably an armory here as well that seem to be selling weapons and armor. They seem to be doing quite good trade right now. They like the armory, by the look of it. They're manufacturing armor out of bone, mostly wood and bone, and leather. There are a couple of armors there that they've got behind at the back of the building, because they've got 3 walls on this building, so it's kind of open. You can see into the shop. On the back wall, they've got a number of armors that have steel and adamantine parts, but they're where customers can't touch them.
Yeah.
You can see that there are barrels of arrows in there, and there are the barrels of arrows and stacks of spears and things, but they seem to be doing a good trade. With you guys stepping into Udaka, I think that will be a good place to leave the session, as you're about to get into exploring the town. So until next week, when we fully explore the town, we've been the 5e Frontier. I've been Patrick Lynette, your GM and host for today's game. We'll be back again next week. You can catch us on YouTube at the 5e Frontier if you've missed any sessions and you want to catch up. You can find us on various social medias as the 5e Frontier. So until next week, when we're back again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you then.
Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.
Good night, everyone.